order to pass. If you don't pay, you don't pass. So you don't have freedom of movement in Nigeria. Because you have to pay your way if you have to pay in order to pass. So, but it's like we don't look at it that way, but that's what it is. You don't have freedom to move. So for you to move, you have to pay tax. So that is also another form of slavery. If you don't have freedom to move, you don't have. I explained to you. I don't know if I mentioned it in the one of the appearances I've made here. I was in Heathrow in London one time. I forgot what happened, and I was angry with at the passport section where they're stamping the passports. So the British man said to me, "You are even talking here. You have much to talk, because we are even giving you human rights here in your country, Nigeria. If they kill you on the street, nothing will happen. So keep quiet." So shut up, and I kept quiet because what he said was true. He said, if something happens to you here in London, there will be trouble. We will be in trouble. But in your country, in Nigeria, in your capital, in Abuja, somebody can shoot you down and nothing will happen. And that is true. So the issue of human rights is relatively new, that people have rights. And even at now, check it, how some of the madams treat the maids. Do they have rights? Do the maids or the houseboys, do they have rights? Because in a certain sense, they are working like slaves. They don't have even their privacy. You barge into their room anytime you want. You go and look at their phone to check who is calling them. These are invasion of their privacy. Even though they're serving you, if you want to enter the room, you have to knock. Don't go and look at that maid's phone. You would have to give her space to do courtship to be able to get married. These are her own rights. Or that driver that takes you to everywhere, you go into a place and you are eating and laughing and the driver is sitting in the car, you don't check whether he has eaten or not. And after he starts the engine and takes you, because if something is happening to him, you risk being dying in an accident. So this is really something very terrible that has happened in our history, and many people are not comfortable to discuss it. And part of our for this program is to bring some of these things out in the open. Let us talk about them. Let us acknowledge that they were bad, and let us look for the way forward.
All right. This modern style, you mentioned the modern style of slavery as relates to what used to exist. At that time, the slaves didn't really have any points. You can't shout at your master. You are tied most of the time until you are sold. And you are not even paid. You are giving what the master wants. But these days, I think it's a little bit different because they're made in the house. Sometimes, not all the time is paid. The driver is paid. You know, so it's a little bit different. But it's in a sense, you are saying it's slavery.
You are still in slavery. We call it modern day slavery. There are those who don't have right to decide whether the pay they are getting is okay or not. Because industrial revolution has made it that there are opportunities to work. Remember our discussion in the previous editions, when you shrink the economic space, very few people will be in that space, and the majority, 80%, will be outside of it. And that is actually why it would be possible for people, the politicians, to buy votes. Remember the analogy of Stalin and the chicken.
Right.
When you are suppressed and you are humiliated to the point that you are begging to eat, so whatever comes your way, you take it. So how much is the maid paid compared to the work that she's doing? She will be fetching water, going up the stair till midnight. And if they're sending her to school, she will go to the lowest school, which is actually an improvement. But in the olden times, some slaves also had opportunity to be paid.
Okay.
Yeah. The riot that I told you that happened in 1914, when Abu Gamagos and Okunano people went to Ude, part of the problem was that Chukwu Nwangu, who was the warrant chief, was collecting money that was paid to the people who were conscripted to go and work on the railway.
Okay.
Our people call it Oro Otampa. Otampa is the place where they were going to work to cut the road for the railway. So Chukwu Nwangu would collect their money and eat it and would not pay them. So they were basically working like slaves when you don't pay salary. And what condition are you, is that person working? So basically, if you don't have alternative where you can migrate from one work to the other, so there are people who can do it, but it depends on the kind of work we are doing. So if the economy is so bad, people, modern day slavery, in fact, Nigeria, they said Nigeria has about 1.9 million slaves, modern day slaves. If you go to the internet, you will see it. Different countries, the number of slaves, modern day slaves who are still includes prostitution. Those, you know that there are thousands of Nigerian girls in Italy who are trafficked there and they are caught in the web of prostitution. They sell you to one thick madam. And men are coming every hour, and you don't, when you arrive, the madam will take your passport. And you can't travel without your passport. So the person is a sex slave today. And there are some organizations that are trying to free some of those people and bring them back to Nigeria. So this is very explosive, terrible, but I think it is still happening.
But again, is modern day slavery a choice?
Yes, choice in the sense, let me put it this way. In Germany, they say that Nigerians who are coming are not asylum seekers because of conflict, that they are economic migrants. And thousands of Africans are dying in the Mediterranean Sea. You know what I'm talking about. They want to cross over into Spain, into Italy. They give themselves freely from this side. So in the 400 days I talked about, people went into the villages, captured people and sold them. Now we are selling ourselves to them. We are going freely to submit to slavery over there. The only difference is that their laws are working. If you work in Italy, studying in Germany, I was taken to work in a parcel company. But since I don't have permit to work, they were supposed to pay me 1,000 per month, and I work only for 2 hours, from 6 to 8, and then I will go to school. But the owner of the parcel company came to me and he said, look, your name is written in pencil. If inspectors come, we will clean your name. You are not working here. Don't say you are working here.
Wow.
Do you see the difference? And I was paid 400 euro instead of 1,000.
Oh.
Yeah, yes, because I don't have permits to work. So if you go to Europe, you have to have permit to work. And if you have permit to work, then it means you have to pay tax. So I was paid 400 euro because I don't have permit. So they paid me less. Instead of employing somebody, they would pay 1,000. They employ 10 people, they pay 400. You see, they're making gain. And we were even happy to do it. And they work for 400. So that's the way it looks like. Our people who go there, what are they doing? Many of them are cleaning gutters, putting things on the grocery store. A few that have the sense to be able to upgrade themselves. So when they submit, we go and become slaves over there. And life there will even be much better than here, in a certain sense, except for cold and the fact that your relations and your friends are not around you. But it is basically the same thing. It is the economic struggle. So who has upper hand in what is going on here in Nigeria? Why is the space not being opened so that people can breathe And that's why the young people are running away, submitting themselves as slaves outside under very terrible conditions, as some of them are working. Some would want to come back. Because those who left in the 70s to the US, they grow old, their children have imbibed the American culture, they don't do what we do here. And the man is sitting down in the house, nobody is coming, and he wants to come back to where? Some who have built houses here, nobody, the children over there in the US, they say, Daddy, we don't need this house, and we're not coming back. So the man is begging his younger brother to take over the house. Because it doesn't belong to anybody. So I would like to live here. People would like to. If you go and come back, go to Europe, go to America, make money, come back and establish. Your home is your home. No matter how much they love you over there, home is home.
Interesting. Join the conversation. I mean, there are several things that I didn't want to bring up, but because of time, so we can push this for next week, the second part of the discussion. But we will have you contribute on the show. You can call 0700-1055-1055. You can also call 0700-1055-0000. You can ask questions, you can make comments, you can also contribute on our social media platforms. All right, it's Energy 105.5 FM. All right, Energy 105.5 FM. All right, let's take this call. Hello, good morning. You're welcome.
Good morning, my brother. How are you? Good. Okay. Amen. Thank you. Sorry. Yes.
All right. Just before you go, the Reverend is going to answer that. Can you repeat your first question? With the number, the phone at the time wasn't clear. The network wasn't clear. Okay.
Okay,
All right.
good. Yes, that is part of the maltreatment that is not in everywhere. When a big man died, but I think even now when they say some of the others, when they die, people are running away because they are looking for people. They go far away and kidnap people and raid and bring. In those days it happened, but not in every, anything written on the face of anybody walking on the road to show that the person is a slave, except if the person has been marked by his master with a sign that will show. There's a proverb we have in Kanu land, which is Opurohu.
Mm.
If you are a freeborn and you are walking from here to Ogbet and they capture you at Obiagu, you become a slave. Anything that you will see on the face. So, for the person who asked this question, yes, it had happened in some places and it's still happening. But it is connected to the superiority complex. The man is too big and he has to have some people who are going to accompany him to the other world, to the spirit world, in the nether world. So that's the way they conceived it. The other question is about the rights of people who migrate from here to Europe or to America. They have rights. There are international laws that cover their rights. But to the extent to which those laws are complied with is one thing. So I can say that the people in Europe and in America are much better than ourselves, because what we are doing to our own people is worse than what they are doing to those who have gone to those places. So if you want to complain, remember what I told you, the British man told me at the Heathrow airport. Go back to your place. If you don't like the way we are treating you, go back to your place. So the African presidents are not concerned that their children are drowning in the sea. Like this place, they are squeezing us here in Nigeria to the point that the medical doctors, nurses are moving in droves out to where? To go and work where they have good conditions. So we are not even blaming the country that is, the country is run so badly that their children are running away, the youths are running away. It's like going to be like the slave trade of the old, because the history we have here is that about 20% of Igbo people were trafficked out. 20%.
20%.
20% of Igbo people were taken out, able-bodied people, because they were not taking old people, and they were not taking sick people. They were taking able-bodied people of the labor force that would have developed your place. They were taken away, and the same thing is happening now. Our people are, the labor force is moving out from the country, leaving those who cannot do anything. So I hope that your question has been answered. The very big people with slaves happened in a few places, but that was not a common practice.
All right. Hello? Oh, okay. Chris, 30 seconds.
The issue of intermarriage, and I think that is the only thing that can change the situation. So when you intermarry, and at a point you will not have the demarcations anymore. But the problem is, how do you go about it? There are some initiatives that have been taken. One of the initiatives took place in Ozala, here in Kano West local government, in 2018. A group of charismatic people started an initiative to eradicate the freeborn and slave-born in Ozala. So they went to every kindred, Omonna, to seek their opinion on what should happen. And money poured into the account, and some of the kindreds, the clans, they said they want 1, 2, 3, 4 to be brought. So they went to the shrine to do what their great-great-grandparents did with the staff. They said the prayer, they hit the stick on the ground and abolished it. and came also to the church at St. Paul's Catholic Church, Ozala, and did the prayer, the Christian aspect of it. So Ozala town officially has eradicated it, at least theoretically. And that's why I think it should start first of all. Because what was happening was that the slave is not allowed to take certain positions, even to break the kola nut in some gatherings. They would have to look for the freeborn to do the breaking of the kola nut. To become the eldest person in the community, they say strangers, people who come from other places cannot be. They give you example, they say the Queen of England cannot give rights to another person who comes from outside. So these are some of the arguments they use. So to eradicate it, now in Ozala, like intermarriage is free, it is open, because that the people were afraid that will befall them if they go ahead to marry has been removed by this traditional rite that they performed. And this is what we're encouraging other communities to do. There are other communities in Nkano that are trying to, because Nkano specifically has a special problem in this area. Because what was happening in this 400 years I was telling you about, area between Udi and Zeagu, a lot of people were displaced in that area, and in Kano people gave some land, so they settled. So this is why you have a lot of, from other areas, Igala, Abakaliki, so that settled, that were not strictly slaves that were bought, but that as they were fleeing, they looked for land, and the people said, stay here. But they were still treated that they are not our people. You understand? So intermarriage, we are encouraging them to go to the internet, look at what other people have done, introduce it in your own community and see how far you can go with it. And I'm also encouraging the church also to come in and set up a committee between, we can call it dialogue between tradition and the church, and let them examine it very well and see how we can educate the people. Because what I'm talking about now, many people don't know about it. So if you don't know how this history started, how did somebody, how is it that somebody became a slave in the first place? So when you know the history, you know it is the same blood flowing in your veins that is flowing in the veins of the other person. Let's come to Obina's question about Africa, whether Africa is doomed. No. Historically, we see that other countries have developed. I made mention how it started in Britain. In 1215, the Magna Carta, so they took power from the king, killed him and gave power to the parliament. And because of the invention of the steam engine, industrialization started. And the British people, there are different bills of rights. The American Bill of Rights, the 1789 French Revolution. So it has not come to Africa yet. And I told you that I believe that if we were left to develop on our own, we would have been improving gradually. But look at the entire African continent, apart from a few countries. So corruption and the autocracy that you have about 7 people who are going to die on the throne as presidents. Election, every election they win with 95%, 98%. So the governance is not taking place. What I'm saying, Obina, is that we have to fight it. Maybe it will not be in my generation and your own. It is going to come. Freedom did not come easily in Europe. It was with bloodbath. And I guess in our own situation, we have to get ready for it. Even ordinary voting, ordinary confronting the politicians that are humiliating us and doing all kinds of things for us. Instead, we are singing for them and clapping. So it's not going to happen unless you are ready to challenge them.
Wow. Reverend, this is where we'll leave it today, because I mean, I know it's not one topic you would like to discuss in just an hour. So we're shifting to next week for another dimension to this topic.
Yeah.
I truly appreciate you once again for finding time to come through with the teaching and the expansion of knowledge. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Charles, and thank you, listeners.
All right, we're back next week for the same program, next week, Thursday, from 10 a.m. All right, this has been a production the People's Creative Empowerment International. I want to appreciate every one of you who are part of the program for calling in, for even sending messages. And I'm sure that the Reverend will also want to drop a number just in case you want to be part of this movement.
Thank you very much. So you can call me on 080 36 37 8803.
All right.
080 36 37 8803. Thank you.
All right. That's it for now. Take care. Have a good day.